Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another obligatory Snow White video. Snow White has had the worst drop-off of any Disney live-action film. Yikes. We're talking princess
for second
remakes,
week,
right?
Yeah. No, I mean, any other live-action films. It has the worst second week drop-off of any of them, including Dumbo.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about this, the disaster that is Disney Snow White. And it's over. Minecraft is coming out this weekend.
It's coming out in just a few days. It'll previews will be on the 3rd. I mean, that's in 3 or 4 days here.
And I'm hearing it's terrible, but people are still going to go see it because
I think you're going to get people, kids. Kids are going to want to go see Minecraft. Let's be honest here. Yeah. I think kids through early adults, they're going to be like, Minecraft, because I can tell you my kids are going to be there on previews. They've already said it.
So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
If you'd like a bigger woohoo, go out to Kickstarter. And we're going to take these down in probably a week or so, but you can still pick up the handful of Shadowbinders hard enamel pins. They are on their way from the manufacturer. We'll be flipping this campaign pretty soon, and very, very limited quantities of these. So if you want them, you're going to have to act pretty quickly. And they're 2-inch pins, hard enamel, the very first Nidaria branded thing that we've done. And you'll be seeing that logo on more stuff going forward.
If we sell out before then, we'll take it down too.
But, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, it'll be up as long as we can. But as soon as the pins come in, they're literally on their way right now. So as soon as they come in, we'll be taking it down, unless it sells out before that. So yeah, interestingly enough today, I was out looking for stuff going on, and it came up with a Screen Rant article talking about how not only has Snow White had a bad drop-off, it has had the worst drop-off. It is the record for any Disney live-action film drop-off in its second week.
Wow. Okay.
It was actually better than we thought. It was originally the thought it was going to be 68 to 70%. It ended up being 66.36%, according to Screen Rant. And you can see, compared to its other live-action remakes, it's a huge drop-off. Dumbo was 60.4%, Lion King 2019, 60.5%, and it goes down the list. Interestingly enough, when you get to Mufasa, the Lion King, the last live-action they had, it went up the second week.
Yeah, that's really weird. Jungle Book did too. Now,
this was a 94 version, not the
Oh, okay. I thought that was the newer. Okay. I was going to say, because Jungle Book, of all the remakes, the Jon Favreau Jungle Book is probably still the best one. And that was one of the first
it only dropped 40% the 2016 one, but 94 it went up almost 100% the second week. But the Mufasa Lion King, which was you can say I think a lot of it is because people are tired of live action remakes. However, Mufasa jumped up almost 4% in its second week instead of dropping off a cliff, which was interesting and ironic. But Snow White has done the absolute worst.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is just domestic totals I want to point out too, because international is not as easy to track.
International, it's not doing very well. It's not very popular. It's weird. A friend of ours who we talk to often, actually, who is in Japan, who goes to Tokyo Disney all the time, sent me a picture yesterday of the crane machines in Japan, and they have the new Snow White in the crane machine, and nobody's even trying to win her. And I'm sitting there in plushie form, the color scheme and the hair. She looks like Dora the Explorer.
She does. I saw the picture.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Dora the Explorer. So yeah, this is bad. I mean, you're comparing it here, to different movies that drop off. Even like The Little Mermaid, which was supposed to be, something that people were mad about, only did 56% drop off. And even the Maleficent movies, the second one was really bad. It only had a 47.58 drop off in its second week. And it didn't do well, but yeah.
Usually, rule of thumb is usually 40 to 50%. They expected this to drop 50%. It got beaten by A Working Man, which is based on a pitch or a comic by Chuck Dixon, which is kind of funny, actually. But
it did 15.1 or 15.2 million, so it did 1 million more than Snow White did the second weekend.
They, honest to God, thought this thing was going to make $20-some million in week.
The second weekend, yeah. They said they thought they were estimating 20 million, and it did 14.2.
This happens every time, though. I mean, seriously, every time they're like, "Oh yeah, our box office is going to be, yay big when it opens." Like I saw this with The Flash. They were like, oh, Flash is going to top $100 million this weekend. Everybody wants to see Michael Keaton Batman. I'm like, well, why don't you just make a Michael Keaton Batman movie without Ezra Miller?
Right.
That probably would have got more people
And,
to
I
the
mean,
theater.
Ezra Miller's controversies, I think, were impacted, but nowhere near, I think, the way Zegler's did, because a lot of people didn't know about Miller's stuff because
Yeah.
it was more like it wasn't in the news as much as like Zegler's stuff was. So even his controversy, I wouldn't argue, is what killed The Flash. It just wasn't a good movie. And Snow White, as much as Rachel Zegler's controversy was public and very public, I think that didn't help. But I think her comments about changing the story, I think people's concerns about the dwarves looking like they did.
Yeah.
I think people thinking it had already come out by now, and there's just so many different things I think led to it. I mean, Zegler didn't help, but there's a lot more to it than just her. But I don't think it was her. I think she impacted Snow White way more than Miller impacted The Flash.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, because Miller really wasn't. Because let's be honest here, The Flash is like they had the show, but The Flash is still like a B-list superhero.
Well, not just that. It wasn't as mainstream with Miller's meltdowns as it was with Zegler's.
Yeah,
but I'd argue that Miller's were worse. But yeah,
Miller's were worse because you were talking like abuse and grooming allegations and all that jazz. But again, we're dealing with Disney and we're dealing with an iconic movie, and anything Disney, any bad news about Disney, even the mainstream media picks up on it. Almost immediately. And so they ran with it, and Fox News was running with it. And, the only station that probably didn't touch it was like ABC, because they're told now it's verboten. You're not allowed to shit where you eat. So,
doesn't stop Zegler. Anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, actually what blows my mind is I forgot all about the 1994 Jungle Book. I'm like, damn, I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
How many damn Jungle Book movies have we had?
I don't know. Because there's a Jungle Book 2, isn't there? Also, it's the animated. Anyway, So we're talking about the box office total for the second weekend for Disney live action remakes. And the Snow White's like number 9. However, they're not adjusting for inflation. Because if you adjust, it's behind Dumbo, but if you actually adjust for inflation, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and 101 Dalmatians actually were better. Like Maleficent would be closer to $80 million now, and 101 Dalmatians would be almost $130 million now.
Wow.
If you adjust it for inflation by an inflation calculator. And even Dumbo came out in 2019, so this would be much higher. Mufasa, The Lion King just came out, but some of these other movies like Alice in the Looking Glass and stuff, they would be adjusted probably higher because Sorcerer's Apprentice, we're talking years and years ago.
Yeah.
Jungle Book, obviously, for sure. But this is what they're behind. The Lion King, the first one, Beauty and the Beast, Alice in Wonderland, The Jungle Book 2016, Aladdin, Maleficent, Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, Mufasa, The Lion King, Dumbo, and then Snow White. And it's sandwiched between flops of Dumbo and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Because it's like the cream in the flop shit sandwich.
The flop shits.
Mm-hmm.
What are is that like the flop
sandwich.
sweats? That sounds like something from the 20s, like flop sweat.
No, it's
they
flop
talk about
sweat.
Flop sweat. It's just flop sweat. People get, and it's like here they get the flop shits. It's like sounds like
floppy
norovirus.
shit sandwich. So Snow White's the cream in the middle. So
oh God, I'm sure that has been a thing.
Okay, then peanut butter in the middle. I don't know what to call it.
Okay, so side tangent, since we're talking dirty talk now.
Wait, we're not talking dirty. I was talking about like Miracle Whip. What are you talking about?
Oh no, I was trying to think. There was a PC game. It was a Japanese RPG, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, and I'm not going to Google it because I'm lazy. Dragon something or other, and it came out in the early '90s. And I think I told this story before. I actually took the game back then it was Electronics Boutique. I actually took it back because I did not know it was that dirty. But it starts out with Snow White getting it on with all 7 dwarves.
Oh yeah, you told me this. Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my God, I thought this was like Final Fantasy, and it was like softcore porn. It didn't show anything, but the dialogue was like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, I'm not playing this. So I took it back and I traded in for this dates me. I traded in for the Serpent Isle expansion for Ultima 7, which was a much better use of my money.
Yeah, that's just weird. Had they done this with this movie, it probably would have made more money.
Yeah, right.
So they said that globally they're not counting it in, but it has hit 143 million globally so far. But the budget again is probably between 240 270 million. I think it probably is higher than that, and that's before marketing and theater cuts. So add a bunch more money, and by break-even estimates, it's between 500 to 600 million. when you figure all that stuff in. And I've seen people say they don't even think the film's going to make 250 to 300 million globally. So we're talking a loss of between 250 to 350 million at least on this thing.
And this thing probably honestly costs more because they don't want to freak out the investors. So they're like, oh yeah, we had reshoots.
We'll find out eventually. But for now, they're just saying
2 years,
that.
you'll find out.
And I'm sure they got some money back too. So it might not be as bad because they probably filmed it somewhere that gave them a credit. But, unless the international market picks up on it, it's not going to do well because the American market's going to wipe it out here with Minecraft. And overseas, Elemental started out crap in the US and it did get a long tail because of the international audience. So unless internationally picks it up, and I'm hearing my friend Sarah had sent over that I think it was in India, it was just really bad. Like they just do not want to support it at all.
Well, they should have put a Bollywood dance number in it like they do with the Marvels.
They always do with everything else.
Yeah. All the dwarves, like a little dance number, and that whole thing would have been fun.
I think it's DOA. I don't think it's going to go up much higher. It might go up like 100 million maybe, and that's I think that's asking for a lot right there. But we'll see what happens. But I think it's pretty much toast at this point.
Yeah, it's so weird with
the toasted cream sandwich.
Oh God, so Disney is like, they get one hit for like every 3 disasters at this point. I
think Lilo and Stitch is going to do well, but Mufasa and Lion King apparently did end up doing okay for them, but this one for sure is not going to be one of their wins.
Yeah. So that's why they keep going back to let's do Coco 2 and Toy Story 5000.
Those aren't live action. These are the
No, they're not, but they know their money in the bank, right?
But,
maybe they'll stop this. They'll stop after this, but the thing is, like you said, Lilo and Stitch does good. They'll be like, oh yeah, we'll just do more.
Well, they're already saying they're doing Moana, and they're going to do Hercules, and Hercules is going to bomb if they do what they say they're going to do, and a bunch of other ones. And Lilo and Stitch does well. It's just going to further make them want to do it, but I think it's going to do really well. And then the Mufasa and Lion King actually did okay. So, people arguing people don't like live action remakes, then you have like Mufasa actually, globally picked up. So who knows?
All right, so there we go, guys. Biggest drop off. Are we going to wrap it up?
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.